The Carolina Panthers wrapped up the first day of mandatory minicamp, and we are here to break it down. Let's go.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Folks, we are going to break down mandatory minicamp in just a second, but we have a big announcement for this show. And yeah, you probably, maybe you don't care, but maybe you do, folks. This has been a long time coming. For the first time in the history of this show and podcast, we have officially charted in the top 250 of all football podcasts in the entire world on Apple inside the United States. And the significance of this is that, man, it's hard to do. I've charted internationally in other countries, Brazil, UK, Australia, Germany. But to do it here where football is king, I cannot thank you guys enough and gals. It is much appreciated, folks. It is big time. It's an independent show. It just shows that folks are tuning in. I have no idea how many football podcasts exist. I know it's in the thousands. So to break the top 250, it means a lot. But okay, let's keep it moving. I know you guys probably don't care so much on the background, but I just want to say I appreciate it. So we are back, man. This is in full swing, unlike what we've had here over the past 2 weeks with OTAs, which is voluntary and limited media availability. I love the folks that write for Panthers.com, but they are going to, give you an abbreviated version of what's happening. We get the real deal when it comes to the media being there. So all the media is there. They're going to be here the next 2 days, and we got a few storylines to watch as we get through this. Now, before we get too deep into mandatory minicamp, we should acknowledge that Buffalo North, or I guess we'd say Carolina North, and the Buffalo Bills have signed former Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson. And yes, on one hand, I understand why the Panthers made a decision to let him go. On the other hand, if the Buffalo Bills, a team that is consistently competing to make an AFC championship, feel like they can get value out of Shaq Thompson, why would the Carolina Panthers not consider this? And I understand the ties between Carolina and Buffalo and what's there, but I do wonder. I mean, I still look at our linebacking core and I think, man, that would be nice. It would be a nice addition. I get it. The injuries have happened. You're moving on. You don't feel like investing anymore. So I just wanted to highlight that. But good for Buffalo, good for Shaq Thompson for getting another chance in the league. Now, we have a lot of reports coming through. Again, I'm going to be back with some short clips. You guys, if you don't follow on YouTube, highly recommend it. So we do little short clip video breakdowns. We're going to be doing that later, looking at some of the highlights from today. So there's a lot of highlights that happened. I don't have the highlights in this because I want to get this out. Got to get this out fast so you guys can digest it and get my thoughts on everything that's happened. So some positive news. And want to shout out to all the folks, of course, that we know, Carolina Blitz, Mike Hay, Joe Person, everyone there covering this because they give us the juice. They give us what's going on. What are they seeing? Some notable things here. DJ Wonham, who we know is suffering a back injury, is back. He was taking part in individual drills today. Of course, like we said, he was absent from the 2 open workouts that the team had last week. Mike Hay reports earlier in the day that the only players he did not see were Amari Barno and Tommy Trimble. Jimmy Horn, of course, the hamstring is in a practice jersey, but likely is not going to be participating. So we get an early jumpstart look at the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. Mike Hay said The first two passes from Bryce Young and 11-on-11s were into the flats, and they were both dropped by Tetairoa McMillan, number 8 overall selection for the Carolina Panthers first rounder, and a name that folks may not know that I've talked about, Dominique Daphne, who is a tight end in this mix. Again, Carolina Panthers running thin with Tommy Trimble out. So you have Jadavion Sanders, Mitchell Evans, and Dominique Daphne. But it's early. I am not concerned, folks. I am not concerned, with drops or anything else that's happening right now in this very moment. So we also got a note. Shamar Bartholomew broke up a pass between Andy Dalton to Dan Chisena. So it sounds like the second team rotation there. And then followed that up with a bullet over the middle to Adam Thielen. Again, this was Andy Dalton. So maybe it is a mix between the ones and the twos. Of course, Adam Thielen continues to be a reliable target for whoever is the quarterback. This dude's got the gift of youth. He is the oldest active wide receiver in the NFL. 35 years old, right at 35, 34-ish. Doesn't matter, he's around there. I said he's getting one step closer to his AARP card and also one step closer to cooking your favorite defensive back. That's just where he is. But Kay also noted that speaking of Adam Thielen, he had another nice catch in 7-on-7s, a good throw by Bryce Young. And maybe you guys are interested in this kicking competition. So if you've not followed along, Carolina Panthers are using the narrow goalposts this year. And part of this has to do with the practice facility, the construction, everything that's happening around it. I will post a picture of this later so you can see the skinny goalpost, or you can Google it. But they have the skinny goalpost, and so they can move those around. It does make it more competitive. Of course, it's a much narrower way to kick. So Ryan Fitzgerald, undrafted free agent who is competing with Matthew Wright, went 5 of 5 and had a high of 57 yards. So positive news, I think, at least earlier back in OTAs, there's a bit of a struggle, or possibly a bit of a struggle. But good to know that, hey, man, we do have a true competition here. So I'm excited to see that one pan out. Still also a little bit surprised that Eddie Pinheiro has just not been picked up. Maybe he's done. Maybe he's done in the NFL, and a lot of you probably already believe that. Another open practice highlight from Shaw Smith-Wade, as reported by Mike Case. It sounds like we're seeing some good production there. He broke up a pass to David Moore that was from Bryce Young in 7-on-7. And it sounds like Young and Thielen, again, have been automatic. 3 passes over the middle in a row with connections. Moving on into later in the practice, we had Xavier Legette. We're going to talk about him in a second. And a Bryce Young connection on back-to-back passing plays. As we mention Xavier, we got to talk about the small scare. Hopefully nothing, but initially in practice, it was reported that he was taken off the field because of trainers. They had to look at his foot. He was back out there, though. So whatever scare and fear that we had that was going to happen, hopefully it's just nothing. It was a little banged up. They just want to be cautious. Like, it's no reason to push anything right now. Don't know if it was the foot that he had surgery on or not, but yeah, it's okay. It's going to be all right. Another, we're going to keep hearing, or we've heard a lot from Shamar Bartholomew. It's a tough name to say. We got to figure out a nickname for him. Shamar Bart. How about that? Just shorten it. We'll figure out a nickname down the road, but it sounds like he had another intercepted. Sound like I said Inner Sandman there. Intercepted Andy Dalton. Jalen Coker working his way back into the mix. He had a catch on the sideline against Trayvon Merrick and Shaw Smith-Wade. Both of them in coverage. Again, this is in your 7-on-7 period. And then closing this out, Andy Dalton ends practice with a dime of a throw to Hunter Renfrow for likely 40 yards. They said Dalton fitted into traffic with a crowd of defenders in 11-on-11. Yeah, I got to tell you, man, and I don't really know where you sit in this realm. And there's a lot of fans that don't think Hunter Renfrow is going to make the roster. I'm telling you, from the limited amount of what we have seen, the coaches talking about him, knowing that he is healthy, you put all those things together, and folks, I got to feel like he's got a very good chance to make the roster. I really think he does. And you know what? We're seeing this third-year version of Bryce Young take a step in a direction that, we really haven't seen. And when it's been reported that J.C. Horn and Bryce Young got into it at practice, Bryce Young's been talking a lot. He's been running his mouth. Now, my question when this post came up was, is this PG trash talk? Because for me, I feel like Bryce Young trash talk has to be PG. It doesn't have to be, but that just seems like who he would be. Like, I don't see him dropping F-bombs, explicits, and, saying bad things on the field to the opposing team. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. But we have a little bit of an edge there and a chip. And, it's funny. A few weeks ago, I saw you guys post and tweet that you wanted to see that interaction between, similar to what we had with Cam Newton and Josh Norman. We just got to have that with Bryce Young. Think about the runs that we've had here with Bryce Young and J.C. Horn. So there you go. You guys asked for it, and they delivered. Now, I mean, it's limited as far as what can be recorded and what they publish. So we don't have any clip of it, but we've just heard that, hey, things are, a little bit chippier here this side. And Bryce Young, man, let's do it. Let's keep that. I think that just shows his increased confidence in himself and who he is as a player. It's going to elevate everyone to have a quarterback that feels confident like that. And when you talk about trash talk, we're not talking about going out and blasting people unnecessarily, but having a little bit of swagger. It's always good to have a swagger with your play. Going back to Amari Barno, as we did get an update on this as well. So a outside linebacker, Amari Barno, per Mike Kay, had a procedure to clean out his knee. Per Canales, it was a similar situation to Tommy Tremble where the medical staff introduced an opportunity to help him. I love how they're calling this opportunities. They introduce an opportunity to help him. Like, it's different. I mean, I don't know, just kind of a different thought path that, hey, and that's what they're supposed to do. But you just wonder about timing on some of these, which it's okay. So that does, and I don't know how long he potentially is going to be out or could be out. But that is going to be top of mind, of course, as we, think through exactly what's going on here and get into the final roster cuts and predictions that move along there. We got to hear from a lot of folks today. And again, I have not breaking down the detailed pressers per se right this second. Again, we'll have our thoughts, digest it. It's a busy time. The last 3 days of content for us before this big break, and then we get to sit back and do bold predictions and other crazy stuff. But I don't know how many of you saw J.C. Horn and his potential beef with PFF, and I think he tweeted and then took it down, or maybe he didn't. I don't know if maybe he did not take it down, but I think he did take it down. But he said, I think he was talking about calling them nerds, number nerds or something like that. But he did respond and said he has nothing for PFF after they ranked him 25th among corners. He also said he dealt with similar disrespect when he was at South Carolina. So there you have it, folks. Now I'm going through trying to get you guys updated with all the notes that I have. We did have a few Panthers legends available. Trey Boston, Kurt Coleman were at practice. Joe Person joked that we could use another safety, just saying. Derek Brown and Jimmy Horn were in uniform but not taking part in drills. We talked about DJ Wonham. So positive news to be in the state that they're in right now, relatively healthy, where the Carolina Panthers sit right now. And again, a lot of time left. So yeah, it's a good day one. Again, we will be back. We heard from J.C. Horn. We heard from Adam Thielen. I will say one thing that stuck out to me with Adam Thielen is he said guys are sick of being the same old Carolina Panthers. When he talked about, and this was when him explaining Bryce Young and J.C. Horn going at it in practice today. And that's what we need, man. I'm sick and tired of this version of the Panthers or the version of the Panthers that we've known for the last 7 years. Like, come on, give me more jawing, give me more edge. Let's take a step forward. Again, I don't think we are at a position to say it's a bold claim to think that the Carolina Panthers can make the playoffs, right? All positive news right now. So I think that's really your full recap for day one. Also looks like Jonathan Stewart was there and Thomas Davis. I'm just looking at a few notes that I had. So that is your day one recap of mandatory minicamp for the Carolina Panthers. Again, I'll be back with some short clips. We'll be back with additional days, and then we'll hit the summer. That doesn't mean the content stops. The content keeps rolling in for me. All right, folks, this is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good